And for more insight on foreign fighters and Westerners joining terrorist groups, I'm joined by Ivan Eland. He's a senior fellow and director at the Independent Institute here in Washington, D.C. Welcome back to the show. We saw some of Hendrick's report. We saw U.S. Secretary of State John Kerry. How are governments dealing with this flow in and out of their countries of these people who want to join ISIL? Is there a larger behind-the-scenes movement that we're not aware of?
Yeah, I think a lot of governments are actually one of the people that was involved in the Canadian episodes just today and on Monday. They were trying to get to Syria and they revoked their passports. So that's one method. And they're also monitoring fighters there to make sure that they don't come back. Now that's harder in a war zone, but actually studies show that not that many of the people do come back to their home countries and cause trouble. But of course, the security services aren't going to be satisfied with that, so they're going to be vigilant at both ends.
Why do you think there's been such a huge response for people in different parts of the world to join ISIL? How would you compare it to the allure of perhaps, say, Al-Qaeda several years ago? I mean, this seems unprecedented.
Well, I think, it's the group of the week or the month or the year, whatever. ISIL swept across Iraq, and, nothing succeeds like success. And I think some young people, they like adventure. They're not, they're probably not completely convinced by the ideology, but, this is a group, and they think that they're doing something that's, they're Islamic, and they think they have a misguided idea of what Islam is, perhaps, and they want adventure, etc. And a lot of them go there and probably maybe regret that they did once they got there.
And there are some of those cases. I'll get to that in just a moment. But how do you really stop these wannabe foreign fighters? As we heard, it sounds like a lot of them are being recruited online. I mean, do you police or monitor the World Wide Web?
Well, it's very difficult, especially in the free societies of the West. People can come and go within reason as to how they want to go, right? And so some countries revoke their passports, but in the United States, you can't really do that unless there's a crime that's has been committed, right? And now in Britain and other countries, you can do that, in Canada, but so it's very difficult in a free society to prevent people from going where they want to do. And, they go indirect route, like these women went to Frankfurt, and then they went to Turkey, and then they're going to cross the border on land, probably from Turkey to Syria. It's very difficult when they go circuitous routes. I think we have to keep the threat, though, in perspective. There's about 100 Americans in Syria fighting. That was the last count I've heard, and not all of them were fighting for ISIL, so we don't really know where some of them are fighting. So I think it's a limited problem. It can be a problem, and if not all of them come back to do stuff here, at least in the United States, I think it's a limited problem. Now, Europe may have a slightly more of a problem. They have a more radicalized Muslim population than the U.S. does. So, and they have more fighters in Syria. That's in the thousands. So they have a bigger problem than we do. But I think that we need to keep this in perspective.
Will this continue to be a problem? I know you said ISIL is sort of the group of the week, the month. Are you surprised by the flow of foreign fighters in and out? Is it greater than you thought it would be?
No, all these conflicts, the Soviets against the Mujahideen, and we had the Al-Qaeda in Iraq against the U.S. We've had foreign fighters in Libya, and these jihadists sort of move around to wherever the conflict is. And I think that'll probably continue to happen. I think what we need to do here in the U.S. is distinguish group from group, and the ones that are attacking the U.S., we can deal with those, and sometimes in a harsh manner, but the ones that don't, I think we should let sleeping dogs lie. And I think ISIL is a classic case of where this group originated from Al-Qaeda in Iraq, which originated from the U.S. invasion of Iraq. And I think we need to avoid making new enemies. And I think, unfortunately, we have done that in the past.
All right, Ivan Eland, thank you so much again for your time and your perspective.